Welcome to ABC Real Time Talk Show. And this is our sixth episode. Viewers, you know very well that we are facing a lot of problems on the Earth planet. And it's coming from Israel and Hamas conflict and so many things taking place in Bangladesh. And therefore, today we'll concentrate on the issues in the Middle East in connection with Hamas and Israel. At the same time, what is going on in Bangladesh. Today, we have guests from different countries. And on the top, Mr. Mosttafa Shazzad Hasan. He's a chartered accountant and advocate Supreme Court of Bangladesh. He's from Bangladesh. Mr. Abu Khaliquzzaman. He is a founding president, Advocacy to End Capital Punishment. He is from USA. Mr. Reza, Barrister Reza A.B. Chowdhury. He's a political analyst and he's from United Kingdom. And finally, Barrister Sarwar Hossain. He is a convener, Bangladesh Nationalist Movement. He's also one of the leading political analysts. Well, how are you all?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
Fine, thank you.
And let me start from Barrister Sarwar Hossain.
Yes,
Barrister
please.
Sarwar Hossain, you are joint convener, Bangladesh Nationalist Movement. At the same time, you are one of the leading political analysts in Bangladesh, also in the media. You know very well that so many things takes place in Middle East, especially the conflicts between Hamas and Israel is now one of the leading questions of the day. What are your understanding about the whole thing? Barrister Sarwar Hossain.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sinha. Yes, can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can. Please go on.
Thank you very much for inviting me in your show. And thanks all the co-participants, all our distinguished personalities. It's a pleasure being a participant in your esteemed talk show. Well, what is happening in Middle East? There is a tragedy in the modern era, like 21st century, when something happens, when Israel was created. If you go to Google, you will see that it is through the Balfour Treaty. This Balfour was one of the foreign secretary of UK, who made a treaty to place all the Jews displaced many places in the world, in the planet, to make a different homeland for them. And there was no problem making a homeland for the Jewish people. But the problem arises when they started displacing the motherland of the Palestinians. So over the period of time, this is the British who created this state of Israel, displacing the Philistine in 1948. And on the second day, the USA recognized the state. And the problem started from that time. So in the world media, as the Western media is somehow rather a bit biased with this issue, when something happens against Israel, that becomes a lead news, that becomes a big news in the Western media. And when the Palestinian people, including women and children, are displaced every day, some sort of crime against humanity is taking place. They are being killed, they are being displaced from their motherland. for last 73 years. Sometimes we find no news, and sometimes some media coverage is taking place. Sorry, the internet got disturbed. So the recent guerrilla attack in the land of Israel attracted the world media, projecting it's a one of the heinous crime against the unarmed people. Nobody supports the killing of the unarmed people, but if you see the conditions of the people of Gaza, this is called the biggest open prison in the world. So to protect their motherland, to protect the humanity, to raise the world conscious, to my understanding, Hamas has no other options attacking like this. Although this type of attack every day they suffered from. As I come from military, I served in Bangladesh Army for 20 years. To my knowledge, this is one of the world famous guerrilla attack ever some guerrilla organization can really launch in. So when some unarmed people is killed in Israel, the world media is attracted. Whereas this type of killing was a rampant against the Palestinian people. You know, we got a news before few months that a Al Jazeera journalist called Shirin, her name was Shirin, was killed point blank, and they don't carry out any inquiry even. So coming back to the guerrilla attack, the military history probably will note this one of the best planned guerrilla attack ever can take place. So the Hamas had no other option other than doing it to raise the conscience of the world. Now, after this guerrilla attack on 7th October, then onwards, what Israel is doing, killing thousands of innocent people, including the women and children. Even today, we got the news that yesterday a baby was born, and today that baby is killed. Still, the those who are champion of the human rights, their conscience is not moved. The Britain has sent the war fleet. America has sent 2 war fleet. So I remember one of the speech from the then Secretary of State John Kerry. He categorically said that the only solution to this problem is to create a independence Israel, 2-state solution. One is a state of Israel, another is a state of Palestine. Yes, I agree with that, but there can be another solution. As America has so much of love for the Israelis, for the state of Israel, and few Western states, they can really rehabilitate this small population, something like they can just make a new state in America, state, and rehabilitate them, because this Palestine problem, Israel and Palestine problem, is world biggest problem. And to my understanding, America follow many good foreign policy, many landmark foreign policy. The foreign policy really help the human rights, democracy, rule of law, justice, etc. But in case of Palestine, they are mum. They are totally mum. but some resistance is taking place. The good news is that the Jewish people residing in USA protesting, protesting hugely. That raised a hope that is the conscience of the people has not totally dead. So the protest was taking place from USA to Australia, from UK to New Zealand. That is the good thing. Unfortunately, in Bangladesh, we have not seen that much of protest against this atrocity carried out by the Israel and in favor of the humanity, in favor of the people living in Gaza and suffering so much. So to conclude in this
Well,
phase,
Mr.
I think there
Barrister
there
Sarwar,
there there are
yes,
there are huge protests in America itself from Democrats themselves. So America should review their foreign policy to address this problem, which erupts like volcano with regular intervals. Yes, please.
well, thank you very much, Barrister Sarwar. Now
Yes,
this is
Mr.
the
Sinha,
turn
you
of
wanted to
Mr.
say
Abu
something.
Khaliquzzaman. No, thank you very much. We are having some problems, internet problems. We understand it very well. Well, Mr. Abu Khaliquzzaman, you are from and you know very well what is happening in Palestine at this very moment and Israel. Mr. Sarwar says America should review its foreign policy. What are your understandings, please, Mr. Abu Khaliquzzaman?
Well, I'm giving everyone my best regards here, all the participants, as well as Dr. MA Sinha. Here, what I am looking at this moment, Israel and Palestinian issue, we are not talking about Palestinian issue, we are talking about Hamas. But we will have to have, there is a peace treaty accord, Oslo Accord, there is a Oslo in 32 years ago, I believe, 32 years ago. That time, they come to a conclusion that they are going to make a two-state solution. But till today, it was not done, not done. Ultimately, what we are looking for at this moment, at this situation, present situation, after this kind of things happen on 7th October, we can move forward hand to hand with the US government as well as Israeli people, those who are loving peace. I know some of them contacted me through my Interfaith Dialogue Project. I'm the president of the Interfaith Dialogue Project. There are a lot of rabbi in my board, lot of Israeli Jewish peoples in New York City. They are in my member, as well as our Muslims are there, Christians are there, Buddhists are there. There is a big organization, and what I get essence from them, what I got essence from them, they are saying that this is the time we will move forward. And Jewish people, they also participated in the protest in favor of our Muslim Palestinian peoples in Manhattan. I know some of them, and I was there also, and they told me that, yes, you are doing very good, and we don't want this kind of turmoil in that region. We want to make sure that everything should be solved by proper understanding. But here is a two things I can say to Prime Minister. One was Sharon, and before then Mr. Ryan, and both of them, they try to down this kind of hitting situations in the Palestine and Israel Gaza area. But ultimately, what we are seeing, nothing was happened. So till and today, what we are going to see, I believe that this is one of the light is coming, because after long 78 years, we are going to make a breakthrough through this kind of situations, try to sit down with the US government, foreign policy, foreign service. We'll sit down with them. I participated two programs. They invited me, Palestinian and Israeli issue, and I went to the Washington D.C. I talked with them, and I was one of the speaker out of 5 or 6. And that time, Albright, Madeleine Albright, he was the chair. She was the chair, and she was very happy about my approach, but it did not went through. And now what I am going to say, that we are trying our best to do something at this situation, try to sit down with the Palestinians as well as Jewish people, as well as our other communities, those who are Christian and others. They can also help in this issue, as a, because we are Muslim and they're Jewish, but other peoples like Christian, like other community, they can also help us to make the situation in a nice way. And that's why I'm looking to see there will be a good opportunities coming. Not I'm saying that, but it is very unfortunate that a lot of our humanity, I feel this way, as an interfaith dialogue project founder, I feel this way, that when humanity is going to attacked by whoever his religion, I don't want to divide this world by religion. I want to stay as a uh, family of the humanity. We are family members, human family. I feel this way, and that's why I try to talk in my different meetings that we will work together as a human being, as a human family. That's why I believe that this is the time. I repeated several times in my this time that I am thinking that there is a good thing is coming, but America should move forward such a way that both sides will not feel uncomfortable, and also we will have to take care. But this was happened. This Israel was after Second World War, when Hitler killed more than 6 million of peoples, of Jewish people. After that, British and also other country, they try to make sure that Jewish people can get a. But there is a history. Everybody knows the history. It was from Abraham, and then and it came to the Moses, and he was the actually whole land of the Arab. But this Arab land is divided in different way, different times. But three major religion: one is Jewish, is Moses, and is a Christian, is the our Christian is by our
Well, Mr. Abu Khaliquzzaman, we will come to again. Well, I am now moving to Barrister Mr. Reza A.B. Chowdhury. Mr. A.B. Chowdhury was a political analyst, and basically we are very interested in international affairs, and you are living in the land of Balfour Declaration. So, what is your overall realization over the period of time? Yes, Mr. Reza Chowdhury.
Thank you very much, Sinha Bhai. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Namaskar. Good evening from here in London, UK, to your viewers. And I think it's good afternoon in the US. Well, thank you for inviting me. It's good to be here with your other panelists. Let me give you a little bit of context before we address where we are. And I'm not going to give your viewers any history lesson, although I think sometimes it is important to get a brief history if we don't understand our past, we're not going to be able to move forward, certainly with our future, and we need to understand our present as well. So the history, very briefly, it is this. The creation of the state that we now know to be Israel came about after the fall of the Ottoman Empire, when the Western powers, France and Britain, took over the mandate, what was known as the Arab Mandate, and between them they carved out what we now know to be Jordan, Syria, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and so on. In those days, it was called Mesopotamia. And at the start of the mandate, what is now Syria and what is now Jordan or Trans-Jordan included the Palestinian people and their community. The mandate came into difficulty, and it was through what's known as the Balfour Declaration. This was a civil servant from what was then the British Empire, decided to, as it were, draw a map, and they decided to implement the idea of a homeland for the Jewish people, purely on the basis that they themselves had been displaced over the previous many centuries. Now, hitherto, you had a situation whereby both the Jewish people and the Muslims and the Christians were getting along very well. And we can go back to history even prior to that. During the time of our Prophet, peace be upon him, he sat with the Jews and the Christians, and things were fine. And that was the case until, of course, you had the creation of the Jewish state. And I'm afraid it hasn't been the same since then, since the creation of it, because you were turfing out, you were displacing a whole race of the Palestinian people in favor of another set of race. And that is where therein lay the problem between the two people. And then, of course, if you look at more recently down the ages, you had conflict, you had the 67 war, you have the Yom Kippur, you had the number of Arab states, Egypt and Syria and so on, who waged a 6-day war. They were unsuccessful ultimately. That then led on to the capturing of wide areas of land, the Golan Heights in Syria. You had a bit of the land from Jordan, and of course you had the Sinai Peninsula from Egypt, which had since then been returned to Egypt. And then, as your previous speaker mentioned, you had a semblance of stability and peace brokered primarily by the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, under the late Yasser Arafat, and that led to the Oslo Accord on the basis that there were to be a two-state solution, meaning that you would have both the state of Israel in parallel with a homeland for the Palestinian people, eventually Jerusalem being the joint capital for both. Now, the people that were instrumental in this were Shimon Peres and Yitzhak Rabin. One of them was assassinated for wanting peace, and the other simply died. So where you have now a situation is that over probably the last 15 to 20 years, you had a government in Israel in the form of an ultra-right-wing government led largely by the current Prime Minister, Netanyahu, who quite frankly wasn't really interested in any peace settlement. And they began by creating large swathes of settlements for the Jewish people across the board and in Arab lands, Palestinian lands. And they were all against a series of UN resolutions against it, declaring it as unlawful under international law. Now, over the last 15 years, the United Nations has released a series of all sorts of UN resolutions against Israel to the displeasure and disquiet of the Israeli government, which is why, of course, recently you had Israel calling on the Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, to resign because they say that he is condoning the actions by Hamas. So that's the context, that's the history. And it's important to bear that in mind, because I think both of your previous speakers have mentioned the outpouring of the feelings of the Palestinian people over the last several decades. They have been displaced. They have been virtually in a concentration camp in the form of Gaza. You have the whole of the Gaza being governed by Hamas, which seemingly had elections in 2006. Not everybody, to be perfectly blunt, voted for Hamas in Gaza, but they represent the Gaza area. You have over to the north, you have Hezbollah, who is controlling the West Bank. And neither of these groups, who are declared as terrorist organizations by the West, by the EU, the UK, the United States, and I'm afraid the people, and it's very important to distinguish between the people of Palestine or the people of West Bank with the organizations known as Hezbollah or Hamas. They are an organization. They do not represent the people of Palestine, and that's very important to bear in mind. And
Mr. Reza Chowdhury, I will come to you again. Very important point you are talking about. Well, now I'm moving to Mr. Mosttafa Hasan. Basically, you are a chartered accountant and you have the background of economics and law also. So, from the point of view of economic impact and the financial losses, what are your analyses, please, Mr. Shazzad?
Thank you, Mr. Dr. Sinha MA Sayeed and distinguished guest in the discussion board. My first fellows have already discussed about the history and other regarding Israel-Palestine conflict. I would like to confine my views on business and economic matter and impact of such kind of war in our economy. I would like to confine my views on that point. Actually, any kind of war and any kind of killing is not acceptable by human beings around the world. Actually, we would like to feel shame for such kind of mishappening in the world. I would like to say that when any conflict or any crisis come to us, then we capable to aware about our friends, about our enemies, and actually who is the main contributor of our economy, especially in Bangladesh economy. As we have seen at the time of COVID-19 crisis, we have seen actually those are real friends, those are contributed a lot for our nation, as well as after economic recession, worldwide recession, we find that actually those country, our good friend in terms of our supporting friend for investment and real sustainable development of the country. And actually, is there any crisis, whether war or any kind of pandemic or any kind of financial recession in the world, then some country help us for their own benefit. If we look into our balance of payment. It is the most important indicator of a country economic strength between the countries, other countries. So if we look into our Bangladesh Bank data regarding balance of payment, regarding foreign investment, actually our government, as current government and previous government, all government, they are very conscious about getting grant rather than getting investment, rather than establish any kind of business between the countries, joint ventures and others. It is very frustrating to us as a nation. All government bureaucrats, politicians, everybody look into the grant. How there is a huge balance of payment, those actually so-called friend. So we should concentrate on foreign direct investment and collaboration with foreign countries rather than receiving grants. So actually our political viewpoint and political dimension and their planning also very I should say unskilled and unfocused on future prospect of our economy and development. Like that, at the time of Israel-Palestine war, the fuel price hiking, as well as cost of businesses hiking around the world. So there are some opportunity for us, because this is the time for shifting our business product and service that we are exporting, and we should look into reduce our balance of payment gap, as well as we would like to attract some foreign direct investment in our country for having a good opportunity for employment and sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mosttafa Sajjad Hasan. You spoke very well from the standpoint of economics and financial areas. Now we'll move to the issues in Bangladesh. Barrister Sarwar Hossain, you are rising political leaders in Bangladesh at the same time. You are moving from here to there with a touch of politics. So you know very well what are the present political landscapes in Bangladesh. Would you kindly analyze the thing from your own views and standpoint? Please, Barrister Sarwar Hossain.
Thank you, thank you, Sinha again. Look, our country was liberated for the cause of democracy, human rights, and free of discrimination, exploitation, etc. But since independence, this country has experienced virtually no democracy, and any party is coming to power, they try to stick to the power by hook or by crook. No regime has left the power. Peaceful transition of power by free, fair, participatory, and acceptable elections. Awami League led this liberation war for the cause of democracy, that they won 169 seats in 1970 elections, whereas PPP, Pakistan People Party, won 88 seats. Constitutionally, it is the then Awami League who should have formed the government. So when the democracy is not honored, democracy is not upheld, Bangladesh got liberated. And since then, 52 years has gone. And we see that in Bangladesh, no real political leader could come to the top leadership. No political process has produced a leader who can really hold a free, fair, and credible election. Everybody came to power, try to somehow or other, more or less, the degree is varying, more or less, to manipulate the election and stick to the power. Coming to If you leave 71 to 90, this Bakshal, then the martial law, and then President Jia coming to power, then 91 the Ershad fall, and a new phase of democracy came in. People expected that the major parties will really honor the constitution, having the good political process, allow the good election, and they should practice peaceful transition of power. But over the period of from 91 to 2023, we have seen that every government has increasingly has become authoritarian. Now, from 2009, when Awami League came to power, this is 15 years, we have seen that every institution has been destroyed, election system has been destroyed. And to that extent, the Prime Minister said that whatever we have given to India, that India will always remember. But she didn't say any reciprocation that the relationship should have maintained based on the people's interest of the nation. So there is no interest of the nation. The interest of the party, interest of the individual. The country is facing a cycle of violence. What you have seen yesterday, Saturday 28th, this exactly almost same scenario took place in 2006. So the cycle of violence erupting time and again with regular interval. This just for power, to sticking to the power, and another party just going for the power. So there is no people mandate that the present regime is continuing. We find that everything is set for having another orchestrated election if they can really go ahead. But to my understanding, there is no real challenge other than the American challenge. It looked like that the movements of the opposition could be contained in a manner the way you remember this in India when this Naxalbari movement was going on. This Naxalbari movement, that was a peasant movement, and there was a leader who was killed in the prison, like something happening in Bangladesh. The state mechanism doing some notorious job, killing some person, putting the blame on this Naxalbari Andolan, and ultimately Indira Gandhi also paid some price for containing that Naxalbari movement very unconstitutionally, very unlawfully, very undemocratically. So in Bangladesh, very interesting, you'll see from the burning of the temple in Ramu in 2010, and day before yesterday, attacking the residence of the Chief Justice and attacking, burning the vehicles beside the police hospital, a protected area. So if you see a pattern that when the Ramu, the Buddhist temple was burned, local people said that those who have burned, they are around, they are in the meeting, or there was a meeting with the people to project that the minority in Bangladesh are very dangerous condition. Then there were very this Muslim terrorist drama. Recently, we got a statement from U.S. State Department where they said that those drama against the Muslim terrorists are orchestrated by some state machinery. So we got a statement. That's what we had been telling time and again, that those terrorist drama is orchestrated by state machinery, mainly by some units of the police. Now, if you see that pattern, this all Awami League top leaders and the state-controlled media jump in three issues. killing of on police member, the attacking of the residence of Chief Justice, and burning the vehicles inside a protected area. The house of Chief Justice is supposed to be protected by the police. The attack of Chief Justice house happened in that manner that they attacked the sentry box. So it's also some sort of attacking the house of Chief Justice. So if you follow the pattern that this Naxalbari controlling, eliminating the Naxalbari movement has some similarity with this containing, controlling, and dislodging the movements of the opposition, that state orchestration, allegedly state orchestration, some incident they arrange and put it on the opposition, and thereby already 3 cases has been lost, and almost all top leader of BNP has been booked. Few of them already are arrested. So apparently it looked like that they are successful in containing and controlling the movement of the opposition, the foreign factors. We see the movement of the ambassador of USA in Bangladesh. So people has doubt whether they can really go ahead with the election or not. But if there is election, I personally believe under this regime, there cannot be any free, fair, participatory, and credible election. So I find there is no democracy, and the democracy, in the name of democracy, it's a autocracy, it's a fascist regime that we are under. So the hope of the people, if you see, this is the on-site, this regime is a plundering regime. It's a terrorist regime. It's a regime absolutely anti-people and anti-state. And those who are trying to attempt to come to power, the character remain almost same. Now people has a doubt whether they want to land from the saucepan to a fry pan. Usually no. That is a weakness in the opposition movement, that the general mass is not being involved in the movement.
We'll come to thank you very much.
Okay.
Mr. Abu Khaliquzzaman, you listen to what Barrister Sarwar made a very wonderful picture of what is happening in Bangladesh at the very moment, with reference to America and neighboring country India also. And he is a political leader. He spoke from his own standpoint politically. You are from America, so you have your own analysis and understanding. How do you view all these things taking place in Bangladesh at this very moment? Please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sinha, as well as all the distinguished participants and those who are watching this show today. I'm actually go back to my Pakistan period. That time, I want to say, because of my some history, I want to say why I'm at this point, why I'm going to say. First of all, in 1964, I saw some of the differences, discriminations. I was only fifth year, grade 5th student, but I try to explain to my parents one point, because my grandfather, he was the founder of Mohammedan Sporting Club in Calcutta, but we are from West Bengal and East Bengal. We have properties long years, our 6-7 generations. But we have also mosque, Masjid Abu Bakr at Calcutta, 10 Marcus Lane. And due to those kind of things, my father always encouraged me from my childhood. But when I was on 5th grade, I was always from 3rd grade class captain. and I asked my father, what is this Urdu speaking peoples and our Bengali speaking peoples? There is some difference. When I was in the Central Government Boys High School in Dhaka, that time I was class captain as well, and I saw that the people's our tiffin time, we got only one toast biscuit, only one, and morning shift, Urdu speaking peoples got 4 items. But my headmaster was Nurul Amin's first daughter-in-law, the son-in-law. The gentleman's name is Bazle Kadir, headmaster Bazle Kadir. And I explained to him regarding this matter that this is the discrimination and differences. And then he did not take it seriously. Rather, he was offended to report it to him. And ultimately, in 1966, the movement, I was involved. I was with the Monomia in the Tejga station, and I was little, and I was arrested. I'm a very young boy, but I took it out. They freed me within 4 or 5 hours because my father was police officer. Ultimately, what happens, why I'm saying this kind of things, because after our movement 66, 69, I was expelled from the Dhaka board. I compelled to leave the Dhaka board, and I went to different board before 6 months of my exam, SSC exam. But I went over there, I sit down, I got chance, and then I back to the Notre Dame College. After Notre Dame College, what I'm seeing after these kind of things, what I saw, the differences between Pakistan and our East Pakistan, Bangladesh people, Bengali people, and we fought, and I am a freedom fighter. After that, what I saw, it is very important from here. In 1971, 28th of December, after 12 days of the independent, I went to the Abdul Salam Observer editor, the then Observer editor, and then I also went to the Nurul Islam Patwari, Doinik Bangla editor. And within this month, I told them what I'm seeing here, that Indian army is taking care all our arms, ammunition, and different things by their big truck lorry to India. And then I told them to request them to write a nice article to aware the peoples that we are not go back again like a behavior of Pakistan, like through India. We are a sovereign country, independent country. We must stand for our own feet. And after that, when I saw in the parliament, first parliament in the newspaper, in the meantime, my home teacher was Motaharuddin Ahmed. His house was Lal Mohan Bhola. That Motaharuddin Ahmed was my house tutor. He was MP. I did not know. My father did not know. And he came to our home after independence, and I requested him to attend to the parliament session. And he told that I knew about your all kinds of things, and we will. And then I went to first parliament when for Chief Whip Shah Muazzam Hossain, I remember, as well as others. I was a young man, Notre Dame College student, and I was a freedom fighter. That's why I was very cautious about my rights and privileges, because we fought, 30 lakhs people fought, killed 30 lakhs people, 2 lakhs people of the women we lost. But my question ultimately, what we got from now after 52 years today, we did not think this way. But here is another point. When parliament was called that time I went. That time the speaker was principal Shah Abdul Hamid. He was the speaker. And I wrote a letter, and I went to the secretary of the parliament as well as the speaker of the parliament. And I gave my letter, a written letter. I told we elected by Pakistani government 1970, 7th of December. How we are going to sit with the non-elected peoples, sovereign country Bangladesh, how Pakistani elected members in 1977 December is going to sit in the independent country as a parliament member. And that time, Speaker
Mr. Abu Khaliquzzaman, you are dealing with such matter which is really debatable. And rather than you try to concentrate on the issue in question, present Bangladesh, please.
present Bangladesh situation, what I'm thinking at this moment, we will have to have a interim government as well as when all the maximum peoples of Bangladesh are looking for a free, fair election. They are looking for free, fair election. So for free, fair election, present government can step down and they can offer free, fair election through the election commission, maybe this one, maybe other. It will be decided by interim government. And if it is not interim government, what will be happen? It will be here. We can see the example already started. Already started means already we are seeing that BNP and other political parties, they are already on the street now, and they are fighting against their rights and privileges for the peoples. They want to give the votes, their franchise, but it is not easy at this moment because there are a lot of things, lot of water going last 15 years, lot of things open, a lot of things happen, and money laundering to lot of area discriminations in between us. That is the very sad part, that we are same. Originally we are Bengali, Bangladeshi, but what we are seeing, we are divided. Why we are nation will be divided? Nation cannot be divided. Nation will be united and work for the future goal. But we don't have any future goal. We don't have any leader. The leadership is very important. I met with Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman when I was living close to his house, 27. I was living 27 road number Dhanmundi. He was 32. Where we have before the 15th of August, 14th of August, I was in front. I met with the Sheikh Kamal Bhai because I have a newspaper. I'm the editor and publisher of the campus university newspaper. And that time he called me. I went and I saw. And due to those kind of things, I'm telling today again that we will have to make a real determination, real our evaluation that what we did last 52 years, 51 years. And I went, don't mind, Dr. Sinha, I went from the first day parliament to Sattar government parliament. Each and every day I went. I may be late, but I went over there and I saw the parliament as a observer, as a guest. I was there, visitor, as a visitor seat. I went over there. And that is the way I learned. And I was also in different time, I participated. But my question is, present situation of Bangladesh is not good. It is very, very vulnerable situations. And I am, as an American, I feel this way. Whatever America is doing, I am feeling that Bangladeshi people will take the leadership. Bangladeshi people will decide And Bangladeshi people will think that what will be the best course of action for our Bangladeshi people, for our country, for our institution. But there is no institution. There is only political party as a trade license, as a trade and commerce. The political party.
Well, Mr. Abu Khaliquzzaman, thank you very much for your comments. Mr. Reza A.B. Chowdhury, you are from London, is center of politics of many countries, especially Bangladesh. What Mr. Abu Khaliquzzaman and Barrister M. Sarwar Hossain explained and concluded. And finally, Mr. Khaliquzzaman uttered a word. Politics of Bangladesh should be played by the leaders in Bangladesh, and they should decide what will be the fate of the nations, what will be the course of politics, course of movement. But unfortunately, America and Western power at this very moment are in the very deep of the politics of Bangladesh, and they are welding so many things. And being a citizen, also citizen of Bangladesh, as well as British citizen, what are your feelings, please?
Thank
Mr.
you.
Reza.
Thank you, Sinha Bhai. The first point to make, it seems to me, is this, that I'm a well-wisher of Bangladesh. I want the country to prosper. I want its people to prosper. I want them to have a free and fair and economically stable country that mirrors most other countries in the world that have come to the stage that they have. It's over 50 years now since the country gained its independence. If you compare the country to other countries, particularly, say, in the Middle East, the Gulf nations, and even as far as the African nations, they have done better, if not more, than what Bangladesh has achieved. But we shouldn't be squeamish about the achievements that the country has achieved. The country has come a long way. My difficulty with the pace of progress is that I'm afraid, compared to those countries, the country could have gone even further, but for the lack of leadership in the country. And I don't want to single out one party. It seems to me that leadership, I speak in plural terms rather than in singular terms. Now, the problem you've had with the country is that although it seems to be on the face of it, on the surface, a law-abiding nation, it has a parliament, parliament legislates, you've got all sorts of laws in place, but there's no application of the law, and there doesn't seem to be any enforcement of the law. You don't have the democratic organs operating in the way that they ought to operate. And the reason behind that is the lack of leadership, the dearth of leadership. And you had two dynasties controlling the country since practically since the birth of the nation. You had a few pockets of coups in between, but thankfully, they've been short-lived. If we compare this country to the former occupier, Pakistan, then I think it has done marginally better than Pakistan. But what it hasn't done is that it hasn't yet separated the separation of powers, unlike Pakistan. Now, you can say all sorts of things about that country, but if you look at their judiciary and their Supreme Court, it still maintains a sense of independence. Even with the military being in power, it still manages to dish out appropriate rulings. So where are we left with in the events and the affairs of Bangladesh? You have a fairly workable constitution. The difficulty with the constitution is that it's been trammeled over, it's been trodden over, and it's been changed and chopped over the years systematically. It's been hammered to death, quite frankly. Bangladesh is one of those countries in that region, in the Asia, the Indian subcontinent, whereby it still hasn't quite come to terms with seamless separation of powers at the end of an election. So when they serve out their 5-year term or their 4-year term, they don't have the confidence. The party in government doesn't have the confidence to pass the baton of power over to the next lot, and therefore you had this system of caretaker government, and the same in India, of course. Sorry, the same in Pakistan. Now that system worked, but you had the current government completely changing the modalities of that. And there is no confidence left. There is a vacuum of confidence among the people about how they can have free and fair elections. Now, you put to me the question about foreign governments meddling effectively in the business of Bangladesh. Well, what other choice does the country have, quite frankly? The people, Bangladeshi people, have lost all confidence in their own leaders. They've lost confidence in the basic structures of the state. They've lost confidence in the judiciary. They've lost confidence in the police, as far as I can make out. All of these institutions have been completely politicized. The judiciary is completely politicized. You had judges, you have lawyers. They've all been politicized, and that should not be the case. So because of that, the people have nowhere else to turn to, and that is why other governments, notably the US, they've had to turn their attention to what on earth is going on in the country. And you have the US ambassador. By the way, this is highly unprecedented. You never had any sort of conduct like this being created by a serving US ambassador. The ambassador now actively goes into civil institutions, and it goes into state institutions. It goes into the foreign ministry directly. It goes to the police station directly. Why? We have to ask the question, why? Well, the answer is very simple. It's because they are concerned about the way in which these institutions are abusing their powers against their own people in the country. And that is a very, very sad state of affairs for the people of Bangladesh. And I'm afraid that also stalls economic activities. Now, your previous speaker, Mr. Hasan, spoke of trade and economic stability and drawing in investments. Well, you can't do any of that if you've got complete loggerheads in the political system. The country was very proud to announce that they're going to be leaving the LDC, the least developed country tag. I mean that's a wonderful achievement. But the problem is, unless and until you address these deficiencies in democracy, with corruption, transparency, you're never going to be able to go and graduate from the LDC tag and then be able to negotiate free trade agreements. Why? Because your negotiator will want a 10% backhander. They will want some sort of benefit out of that. They are not working in the interest of the people. Unlike the country next door, you see India. The difficulty, I think, at the moment with the current government in Bangladesh is that they've put all their eggs in one basket. They put all their support in Prime Minister Modi. But the difference between Prime Minister Modi and Bangladesh is that Modi works for the country. He's a patriot. He works for the development of his country. He doesn't work for the development of his own pockets. He doesn't line his own pocket. His brother lives I think he lives in Gujarat or another state, and the man has a very modest job. Now, if he were the brother of the Prime Minister of
Yes, Mr. Reza Chowdhury, thank you very much. You just move beyond the understanding, because we are talking about the Bangladesh, not about the India, about the present
No,
situation.
I'm not talking about India. I'm just giving an example.
I understand, but But the main question is, do you believe there should be a free and fair government? Bangladesh is the very moment for free and fair election.
Yeah,
Just 1 minute.
I don't think it's me who believes. Of course, I want that. That is my wish for the country, and that is the wish of all its inhabitants. The real question is it going to happen? The answer, it seems to me, that it may happen with the intervention of other players in the theatre, and I'm not talking about domestic players in the theatre. I'm talking about international partners in the theatre. That's the only way that it's going to happen, and it seems to me that there is no other option. The people will speak, but they will only speak, it seems to me, through the intervention. There is another short point.
Okay, we got your point, and thank you very much.
So sorry, can I just make one last point? There is also the economic factor in Bangladesh. The cost of living is extremely high, and it may well be the case. I hope it doesn't come to it, but we may see the beginning of something that we saw in Sri Lanka, where people are at their end.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Away from Bangladesh, you have so many things in your hands and understanding. But we live in Bangladesh. We have a different picture here also. But thing is that you are in favor of the caretaker government at this very moment. Well, Mr. Mosttafa Shazzad, basically you are a chartered accountant, at the same time lawyer, and you are dealing with the financial sectors in Bangladesh in many areas. So what is your understanding? Because present government Sheikh Hasina was the definitely declared, we believe the development first, democracy next. Open declaration. And do you believe the development has taken place to such an extent which deserves to override the democracy? Please, Mr. Sajjad Hussain.
Thank you, Mr. Sinha. Very technical and critical question regarding what should come first, whether the development or democracy. Actually, development shouldn't come first, as I would like to give my opinion, because democracy means not like the voting power of the people. Democracy means, as Mr. Reza have said, democracy means all organ of the country, all institution of the country should be active, should be people-oriented, and should be transparent as well as liable to the people. But in our country, we not actually losing only the political standpoint of politicians, but also we fail to maintain or fail to make our institution for people themselves. If we say about our financial transparency as well as government transparency as well as policy transparency, actually politics not in the hand of politicians now. Politics fully controlled by corporate house of Bangladesh. Yeah, I think you'll agree on that point. I see that political party not nominated any parliament member, even not any member of the cabinet. Actually, it is divided into the corporate house. Corporate house will decided whether who will be the such kind of minister, who will be the such kind of even in the some institutional position also controlled by corporate house in Bangladesh. So actually, when businessmen come to the power, and they always think about their profit, not and ever they think about the benefit of the people. So we should establish a good democracy as well as good transparency of the government systems, and we should protect our institutions. Our as you know, our fundamental rights, like our cost of living, already mentioned one of my friends over there. So, and other things like that, people would like to get good treatment in hospital, and people would like to get proper justice in the court system, as well as they would like to have the benefit of such kind of so-called development of the country. So actually, we are very frustrating on that. People are not fine at this moment, and we expect a good governance system to be established, and politics should come to the politicians. Actually, the they have the feelings for the people. They have some commitment to the people, and I think this will be better for Bangladesh people. Because we have spent a good and very long time after liberation. We are the post-liberation generation. We would like to have a good country. We would like to have a very prospective and sustainable development country, so that we can live here. We can feel proud for my country. In this case, development not a big indicator or only indicator for betterment of the people. Democracy should come first, and democracy by the people should come first. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mosttafa Hasan. Viewers, we are about to end this talk show, and before that, I feel obligated to go to Barrister Sarwar Hossain because he is in politics, and recently they have floated a political party named Bangladesh Nationalist Movement. Mr. Sarwar Hossain, all the three speakers categorically, vehemently, and emphatically asserted that politics are not in the hands of politicians. All the corporate bodies are now leading Bangladesh, and you are a politician. What the replies you have, please?
Yeah. Yeah, I heard the participants, and I supplement with Mr. Reza Chowdhury that the basic problem in Bangladesh not having a good leader. Yeah, we have in our party why we had to float a new political party. You know, this time 93 new political party applied for registration. There are 42 registered party in Bangladesh, and out of 93 applied political parties, 2 got registration. One, Bangladesh Nationalist Movement (BNM), and another party. So because the existing parties cannot deliver democracy, justice, rule of law, free of corruption, free of discrimination, the definition of politics in Bangladesh has become that I will fulfill my sweet will, I will do whatever I feel like, lawful or unlawful. You got to support me, and I will make money, and I will enjoy my life. And the biggest problem in this country is the dynasty politics. And dynasty politics invariably produce autocracy, produce corruption, produce crony capitalism. Nobody in the world having dynasty politics could avoid this crony capitalism. When dynasty rules, everybody become rich, including the servants of that dynasty. And the basic character of these major parties has become almost same. People don't have any options going for the good politics. And out of this dynasty politics, it is the people and it is the country who suffers. And country is facing a cycle of violence, cycle of corruption, cycle of money laundering, and as a result, all the institution has been destroyed. The confidence in judiciary is very low. Education system has destroyed, and above all, the ethical value, the ethics has just vanished away. It look like nobody think corruption, bribing, doing bad job, doing crimes is really a crime. The political culture has come to a level that using the political post and position, they can do anything feel like, anything they feel like. See, there is no process of eradication of the corruption. When they use the post and position of the party, do corruption, plunder the people's money, there is no mechanism, there is no process to discipline those corrupt politicians. And if there is somebody is coming under trial and punished, then they will say that is a political trial. That means curbing the corruption, preventing the corruption. Virtually, there is no political process. As such, they are plundering the people's money, and they are doing the money laundering and making second home in Canada, USA, UK, Malaysia, Dubai, in those countries, Australia. So it's very unfortunate that in 52 years of independence, we could not get a leader who can really uphold the trust of the people regarding the voting right, regarding their constitutional right, regarding their civil rights. For ensuring their rights, they have to bribe every office. Corruption has spreaded like cancer, as said by the present Chief Justice. Now, people, as a citizens of this country, will see how and what steps this present Chief Justice will take to curb this corruption. This is a fact that every institution has been damaged, education system has been damaged, the morality of the people has gone so low, immoral activities, they don't feel shame for doing or involving in some immoral activities. And the state directly sponsoring the corrupt people. Say, for example, one Mr. Sheikh Basu has plundered a whole bank, basic bank. There are 10 or 11 cases against him, but nobody is attempting any to arrest him or bring him to the justice. A son of a business person killed a daughter of a freedom fighter. Still, the case is pending. He is accused. No law enforcer has made attempt to arrest him. So there are many deep states within the state. Who controls this politics? As some of us said that the politics is not in the hand of politician anymore. That's why we see the political leaders. We don't see a statesman. We don't see a brinksman, and the brinksman goes beyond the sensory. But our political leader, they only look for the interest of the party, their family, their son, and daughters. This type of politics has failed anywhere in the world, and it is bound to fail here. That's why this country is moving with a failed state. To reverse from there, you have to change the political culture. You have to
Thank
change
you
the
very much.
whole
Thank you very
spectrum
much,
of
Mr.
politics.
Sarwar.
That's why
You spoke.
BNM will work for that. BNM will bring back the democracy, rule of law, justice, free of corruption. And just
Thank
for my for the dear participants, we like to mention few policies of party. No post will be held for more than 2 terms. Even the post of the president and prime minister will not be for more than no terms. And nobody can involve in corrupt practice being a member of Bangladesh Nationalist movement.
well,
That's
Mr.
why we
Sarwar Hussain,
invite
thank you very much.
all good people of Bangladesh remaining around the world, come and join in BNM.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Sarwar Hussain. You made a very fiery speech at the same time, upholding the truth what is happening in Bangladesh. And being a political leader, you also assert and believe the present situation is not comfortable one, and the political leaders are mainly responsible for all these things because they are not so vocal to eradicate corruption, and they are very much fond of maladministration, malpractices, and what are the truth is that what Mr. Sajjad Hussain said. We are we are talking about the speech, fiery speech of Barrister Sarwar Hussain, being a political leader in Bangladesh and the rising one. He made a very fiery speech, at the same time upholding the overall democratic values, customs, and traditions which we have lost over the last 52 years. At the same time, Mr. Mosttafa Sajjad Hasan He cited in a very animate way the functioning of syndicates. I mean the corporate bodies. These corporate bodies grasp the democracy very well. And maladministration, corruption, and money laundering are very much associated with this administration at this very moment. And we believe the government is very much aware of all these things. But at the same time, it is rising day by day. What are the reasons? Reasons are these. Corruption are very much inherent within the blood of Bangladeshi people. Is it so? No, no, it is not so. Because it is the political parties who are placed bound to the people to make a golden Bangladesh. But they are not in a position to do so because they believe in practicing otherwise. And that is the main crisis of the time. At the same time, election to 12 parliament is very nearing. We don't know what will happen ultimately. What is the solution? Solution may be on the street or through dialogue. We don't know. That is the reasons why the America is being playing so much in Bangladesh. We don't know, but it is always clear why. And we are responsible for all these things. So let us blame the political parties and leadership for all the crises in Bangladesh, basically because they are responsible to the nation to run the state and the government. But they're not so. They are for themselves. And that is the main crisis in Bangladesh. And thank you very much. And we'll meet you again with episode 7 very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.